Ross, what is this betrayal? Last time I encountered your contraptions, they were using electricity and a bunch of unfair tactics to steal my eggs. Come on, infinite fruit cannons, where were those in Field of Dreams? I'm so glad you asked. It sure is lucky that there are 12 other sandboxes to complete. If not, I might have had to resort to an option rather more savory. What? My help? Ugh, get out of here. I'm sorry you all had to see that. No independent contractor is perfect. Is it possible to complete every Bad Piggy sandbox without electricity? The rules are the same as last time. Engines and power-ups are completely off limits. Oh, wait, everyone wants to know about alternate forms and alien parts. Those are banned too. If you do want to see them in action, make sure to leave a comment requesting part 3. We will properly prevail through pure piggy power, and Ross is going to have to work for it. Okay, fine. We don't have to do the hardest levels immediately. Let's ease back into things with Groundhog Day number 1. The very first playpen of particulates is nothing more than a monotonous mess of miniature mountains with star boxes systematically strewn across the slopes, and nestled in an occasional crevice. Sounds like a super simple start because, wow, I have like nothing to work with. Where are my propellers, boxing gloves, suction cups, balloons? The only renewable propulsion sources I have are my air bellow and pig-powered wheels. Yeah, no, the fans definitely don't count as propulsion. The Guster can grab the one box to my left, but now I'm left to construct a contraption for maximum mileage. My first attempt at stacking the car with bottle rockets nabbed 3 more, and the redesign another. But the fact that I'm beginning to struggle just a quarter of the way through the first level is rather inauspicious. Luckily, activating my soda surges with proper timing was just barely enough to reach box 8, but no other combination of the provided parts could make it any further. Alright, time out real quick. Is the challenge already over? Have these hills forced us to make the concession of minimum electricity rather than none at all? Not yet, not quite. Unlike starting with every part in Field of Dreams or acquiring a new one with each Starbox in Little Pig Adventure, the 12 other sandboxes all start with their own unique items but share the set unlocked from beating the main levels. Unfortunately, that creates some hard upper limits for how many I can get, but at least it leaves the door open for true success. So I just need to maximize my star count in the campaign. It's not worth getting hogged down in all the details, but When Pigs Fly carries hard, unlocking the parts you see here for use in every sandbox. Groundhog Day? Not so much. Well, I got a new part. It's useless, but I got it. Hey, that's still better than the other worlds where 2, 4, 0, and 0 levels are possible to beat, which won't get me anywhere. That's not enough for you? Well, leave a comment if you want to watch me beat the main campaign with alien parts and without electricity in part 3. But if you're fed up with my fanciful tomfoolery, feel free to dislike and unsubscribe and leave my Discord server so Ross can finish a fabrication that will fly you far away from these frustrating features. Now, it's important to realize that I didn't attain all these items immediately. Instead, I returned to these stages to grab a few more whenever I got stuck. So when you're watching the rest of the video and wondering why didn't he just use X that I know he has, I probably hadn't unlocked it yet. Or maybe I did have that part and I was just being stupid. The great thing about art is that it's open to interpretation. The first balloon I unlocked enabled a floating unicycle that immediately doubled my completion of Groundhog Day, but popped on this pernicious parabola at the end. A slight modification allowed me to backpedal into this cave, and some dynamic dynamite detonation flung my floating friend up to the only midair star in the sandbox. Now the final hill was all that remained, and I was sure my unicycle had what it takes after smoothly sliding up and snagging the second to last starbox with my balloon. You'd think that the final collectible would come quickly after such a success, but instead I accidentally broke my machine, failed with a bunch of variations. Wow, that was useless. Reverted to my original weightless one wheel, and then finally got this to happen after half an hour of attempts. And it can't be pushed back, or else I'm kind of screwed. Yeah, like that. Here, let's try again. Oh! I got up. It's so close. Just nick the corner of the box. Come on. Yes! Groundhog Day 1 finally beaten.
One balloon was all I needed to unlock.
Needless to say, this occurred before I nabbed most of the extra items. Just as I didn't play all the main levels immediately, I often skipped among the sandboxes when I found myself stuck. I finished pieces here and there as I worked toward total completion, but if I just went in chronological order of my accomplishments, this video would be about as structurally sound as one of Ross's contraptions. Instead, I'll arrange things by difficulty. The easiest levels presented no obstacle, allowing me to breeze straight through without requiring a revisit. Both instances of when pigs fly provide plenty of parts to create true flying machines right off the bat, which by my definition means that it can indefinitely travel in all 4 directions. That alone isn't an instant win, but it definitely helps a lot.
And I have TNT. Let's get started with TNT. Clean. Every time I get the slightest bit impatient, my balloons are gonna pop and I just have to start all over. Need perfect positioning. There we go. That's box number 1. Nice. Okay, machine's intact. Maybe we can get every single box on this one attempt. Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna get in there. I'm Drengodring? You betcha. I'm at max power right now. Okay, we're almost there. Time to pop the balloons and see what happens. Okay, we're bouncing down. Will I make it through? All right. No! I can do this. Oh, no. Now... Okay, TNT. That's it. First sandbox down. Perfect. Get the box, Ross. Oh, don't block me from getting the box. Okay, good. I think I just created the optimal machine for this level right here. Tilt myself over, and that's exactly what I needed. This is it. Final star box. And boom. 20 out of 20.
Who could have guessed that the second would be easier than the first? Well, that's not too uncommon. The same is certainly true of Rise and Swine. I'll get to its big sibling later, but for now, please enjoy some explosions and very tedious fan-powered flights.
Okay, this looks complicated. Oh, let's go! So many balloons! Okay, is that gonna get me Starbucks too? Planned. All of that was planned. Some of these will be easy. I think I can grab these 2 right off the bat. Starbucks 10. Halfway through. Don't pop. Nice. If I hit the air bellow here, it might just pop my balloons. But I don't really have any choice, so guess we'll see. Oh, it's so close. Just gotta barely brush it. No! I promise I didn't lose intentionally to milk the level for more content. This is not good content, what I'm doing at this very moment. Oh, it's so close. There we go. Hit this Starbucks. Alright, I think this is it. Oh, okay, I shouldn't have hit the ground. That was a bad idea. But it's okay. We did it.
And hey, if you're not too bored from all this success, here's the first night's flight. Although liftoff after this one is going to be quite a bit harder.
I have a free easy flying machine, which is the base stuff it gives me. I think I can fly around and just collect a lot of Starbucks, honestly. Come on, come on. Don't hit it. Don't hit the top. Oh, it hit the top. This feels like it'll work to me. Why does that happen? Let's try this again. Okay, well, he bounced that time at least. Here we go. Perfect. Got the snipe. Okay, that seems pretty good. Easy enough. As long as it survives the drop, they should be fine. Moment of truth. Come on, don't break, don't break. I can handle it. Good enough. That's another sandbox down.
Okay, but those were free. I know you're here to watch me suffer, and we'll get to true torture in due time, but for now, let's focus on some levels that actually required some thought and precision. Groundhog Day 1 would be in this category, and so is its sister sandbox. The 4 I've just shown each took under half an hour, but I'd be spending nearly an hour here to see if winter will continue. A bellow can push my floating unicycle up almost any hill, so the first 8 boxes fell nearly as hard as Ross did when his car went over this little bump. Come on, hang in there. What am I even paying you for? Explosive shenanigans, the best kind of shenanigans, earned me box number 9, and a very long string was enough for my balloon to bag box 10. But that was just a detour, because now it's time to combine these strategies for some balloon blasting. After a couple of dramatically appropriate near misses, Ross pocketed boxes 11 and 12. Oh, you thought I was done? No way! This is the most wonderful strategy in the entire game, and I am going to stretch it to the absolute limit.
Okay, well it doesn't work like that. Use a closed umbrella to hold the pig in order to have more propulsion. Do that one. Decent start. This machine looks so scuffed now. It's just a random jumble of TNT and bottles. Wait, it's actually working. Okay. And explode. How did that actually work? I'm so good at this. Nice. And then it got the other Starbucks too. That was magical. Okay, if that misses the box. And the TNT. Perfect balloon timing. Let's go. Do I think Ross will ever recover from all this TNT exploding? Probably not. That's not his job, to maintain mental health. His job is to get the Starbucks, and I am going to do that with him. Just gotta move it over a little bit. Almost perfect. There we go. That's what I needed.
Unfortunately, the final 4 are stashed halfway through and at the end of the level, not so conveniently stationed to take care of with TNT. My floating unicycle was persistent enough to loot the lowest and loneliest, but the other 3 were inaccessible until I returned with a propeller and some bonus balloons.
Double balloon and propeller, very nice. Now we can fly. We can fly for real. Yeah, I might just be able to get all of them with this. Get the Starbucks. Get the Starbucks. No. No, I messed up. Can I actually still make it to the end? Almost certainly not. There it is. Oh, no. No! It's okay. I can salvage this. It'll tilt left. Okay, we got it. Groundhog Day number 2 complete.
It may be big, but with the copious crafting components it caters, I don't think I'll have any trouble rising and swining. The first time. Trouble here lies in the enormity and complexity of the arena. With so many twisting tight passages, there would be no one setup fits all solution. Every new chunk of Starboxes requires a thoughtful redesign. I began with a humble balloon car that managed to grab one and make it no further, but adding another balloon was enough to push upward and grab a second at the crest of the hill. Ross, this will not do. I need a true flying machine immediately. Ugh, fine. If that's the best absolutely possible.
This might be the single worst flying machine I've ever built in this game. It's functional, that's what matters. Okay, there we go. It no longer flies, so let's crash it and see what we can get. Oh! Nice! Another Starbucks. Keep rolling. Let's go. 4 out of 20.
Thank goodness! That's a much better design. Now I'm finally making some progress. Ugh, still not flexible enough to grab more than 2 boxes? Fine, who needs powered flight anyway? Balloonicycle, I choose you! Somehow, the TNT actually saved this absolute disappointment, and Ross pedaled far enough to bag the double bottom boxes. Let's go back with something a bit better. Turns out that once you enter these caves, they're quite spacious and navigable with the right machine, and this one was enough to grab the largest chunk of boxes so far. But my floating wagon must evolve if I am to truly thrive. With an initial blast to drift through the nearby hole in the ceiling, a bellow was enough to climb the hill and enter the cave. When Ross found himself above the goal, it came time to bid the balloons goodbye. But after this, progress slowed significantly. I continued trying to upgrade the car, but a great volume of vehicle variations on its own will not be enough to attain the final 4 boxes. Unfortunately, I don't have any detachers in this level, but I luckily happen to have something even better. TNT.
Uh-oh. This is a good start. Okay. Of all the things that could happen, the TNT just falls out? It's not looking good. We just got to see if I can actually navigate into the tunnel. Yeah, the fan is being problematic. No! I'll just go in here as fast as I can and see if I can get it to work. It's moving! It's moving! Can it flip over? Please? Yes? Is this it? Yes! Let's go! 2 more star boxes!
A recycled flying device along with a pinch of precise patience was enough for box 19. If only it could have been so easy for the last one.
I think I need a brand new machine for this. All I need is to push it down there. What? Okay, last bottle. That was pretty close, actually. This seems like very safe floating. It didn't break. It didn't break. Progress. All the bottle rockets. All 3 bottle rockets weren't enough there? Okay, we made it up. We made it up. We have TNT. I just need to launch over there and not screw it up. I just have to go for it. No! What happens if I put a bottle here? What can I do with this? This bottle feels like it's making everything worse, but maybe it's a blessing in disguise. This could be huge. If I just set off the TNT, will it work? I think I just have to go for it. Let's go! Snipe the box! That took a while.
But now the difficulty is beginning to calcify because Find the Skulls is a similar step up the scale. When I first came here, I didn't yet have the parts for a flying machine, so I used a wheel to bounce Ross left because apparently the Bellows hitbox is a complete lie. Fiddling about with TNT earned me a second crate, although not the one I expected. But hey, balloons and explosives go hand in hand. Any beyond box 3 proved difficult though, and I came back later with some upgrades that allowed me to fly freely, which was sufficient for boxes 4, 5, and 6, and barely 7. Barely. That was just sad. But never fear, because strapping some dynamite to the top will cheer us right up to an easy 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And 12. Dozen? Having to fly all the way up there made that take about 12 times longer than it should have. Swapping the explosives with Ross enables him to grab Unlucky 13 in the ceiling, and TNT is the perfect tool to tear through the tunnel in the bottom left corner of the map. But it might surprise you to learn that, sadly, bombs don't solve all of my problems. The cave above contains an outcropping which I cannot blast my bad piggy to, so I had to make do with limping to its lower associate for number 15 and focusing on what was left of the level. The cavern on the far right has a similar layout, but is mercifully car accessible, so it was easy enough to access the box on the floor. To aim above, I guess I'll have to come crawling back to combustibles. It seems that detonation will always be my destination, and if it works, it works. Bombs are a much more efficient source of power than engines. A double-sided car picked up enough speed down the mineshaft to loop around for the box on the bottom, but the offshoot would once again require TNT. It wasn't as easy as I'd hoped because of the quite tight timing, although I'm sure some modifications can do the trick. By leaving Ross to rest on this spring and adding another explosive to adjust the angle of attack, sure success was simply a straight shot away. Now the only box remaining is the one that blocked my progress earlier. None of my flying machines could make it because the cave's narrow bottleneck blocks my balloons to render a safe entrance impossible. That is, as long as I'm trying to fly up. But what if I fly down instead? I think this might be the solution. Okay, now I just have to slowly release the propeller bit by bit so the balloons don't hit the ceiling. Come on. There it is. Finally flying up to the final star box. Here we go. Box number 20.
Find the skulls completed.
Even though the Skull's sister statue stage provides a great many more parts to play with,
Oh, yes, this is what I like to see.
it requires a sharp swell in the scope of my chicanery. This level is huge and way more complicated. Yet another fiery flight earned me my first box, but I pivoted to fixate on the suction shenanigans that I was sure would earn me the second imprisoned in this spiral. The last loop proved to be a bit too much, but a boxing glove and some more balloons napped 2 and 3. I spent the next half hour accomplishing absolutely nothing as I tried everything to reach the star tucked away in a rectangular prison. At first I thought it would be easy, but the sharp corners limit wheeled contraptions and tight cave corridors remove access for flying machines.
Uh-oh, I can't move up. The suction cup's in the way. No, this time the bellow is in the way. It's still not rotating enough. Very slowly, it seems like I'm able to boost it up. Yes, yes. Okay, here we go. Come on, no, it's so close. What am I supposed to do here? Or I can just climb with the suction cups. Unless that happens. No. No. How long have I been working on this one box? It's been like 15, 20 minutes. Maybe I just have to use my oh no. It just doesn't have the power to carry itself up there.
Eventually, I gave up, because it turns out that airlifting a golden idol is actually easier than driving up a wall. Sometimes. This challenge is definitely driving me up a wall. At this point, I was tired of breaking on the most bothersome boxes, so I slapped together a basic flying machine to grab all the stars out in the open. Traversing the cave necessitates some involuntary pops, but my first run secured 6 boxes in the level's left area, and some minor modifications were enough for another 5. The magic of suction cups helped me conquer this crevice, then succeed in surviving the circle for star 17. I returned to a tiny flying machine design to waddle through the tight caves for the penultimate couple, but after all that, I had no choice but to return to the box which had haunted me back at the beginning.
You know, maybe I've been approaching this all wrong. Yeah, new game plan. You guys are seeing this, right? What? I have never seen this glitch before. Perfect. Darn it, I forgot the propeller gets in the way here. I can't wait to make a montage of all these failures in the video. Please. No. Please let that be enough. No. If this actually works. Oh, it's going. Oh, I know what to do. Yeah, that's it. There we go. No. No! Why did it break? Okay, nice. Back here. Now I just need to not have the suction wheel break. Yes! It's working! Please just don't get stuck. Don't get stuck. Yes! Finally! 20 out of 20! Is that the single most complicated box in this entire challenge so far?
That was bad, but it could have been worse. Half of my total time spent in Find the Statues was devoted to a single box. Flight in the Night #2 kicks things up a notch by... lying? How am I supposed to fly through all of these incredibly cramped tunnels? This is the absolute nightmare scenario without engines because I'll need to propel up and down and all around with hardly any room to maneuver, and my available items are much more limited than in Find the Statues. Oh, what I wouldn't give for a suction cup. Most of the stage is trivial though. I began by grabbing 15 boxes in as many minutes just by floating around in the open, but as soon as the simple stars were swept up, I'd be lucky if a single one could take the same amount of time. Number 16 was just at the mouth of a cave, so I tried to make a machine that could collect it and maintain momentum to grab 17 at the eventual intersection, but the wooden frame was too weak. With only one metal box, I had no other choice, and flying up there already took way too long. With no immediate solution, I shifted goals and began looking for an easier star. Every flying design I tried was too tall to navigate the cave, instead bursting my balloons, but the nearest cave star had only a single bend to slide around, making it potentially possible to reach with boosts. I began stacking as many propulsion devices that could fit onto my machine, with bottles and bellows and wheels, oh my! Everything that lengthened also chipped away at its already subpar stability, leading to a failure if I was lucky and a crash if I was not. My first attempt with 2 pairs of bottle rockets didn't get me quite far enough, but activating them a bit later just barely got me there with assistance from my wheel, propeller and bellow. I gave up and moved on to other stages after another 10 minutes of flying machine failures, but was inspired to return after unlocking a miniature wheel with the hope that its smaller stature would help me navigate the tight tunnels. It did not. Despite this, I eventually invented the much more compact design I desired. Instead of building balloons above the propeller that activates upward flight, I added an extra balloon that would induce automatic liftoff with my blade on the bottom to pull down. While finicky, this was finally slender enough to spelunk, and with the patience to blow and fan myself around, I was able to enter the cave and reach boxes 18 and 19. Number 20 would prove itself much more formidable. It resides in a cave within a cave, so thoroughly tucked away that even this shrimp of a machine is far too fat to fit inside. Rope dragged too much to reach the crevice, making TNT the obvious tactic. However, safely traversing the cave with this attachment is no easy feat.
We're safe for a brief second unless it... No! Seriously? Finally, I think we're here. This is where I need to be. I think this is the best I can do. Here goes nothing. We have another chance. This feels decent. I don't really know how I improve on this. I think I just have to hope that the TNT explodes and Ross does not bounce back to the right. Here goes. Yes! Flight tonight. 20 out of 20 boxes. Oh, why do I keep having to pilot insane machines through incredibly tight tunnels?
That was pretty complicated, but if you're familiar with Bad Piggies, you'll know that I'm still missing one entire sandbox set, the Road to El Porcado. These two levels are definitively the most complicated in the entire video, giving even Little Pig Adventure competition with certain boxes seeming nigh impossible. Buttons strewn throughout activate various contraptions, forcing an extra step beyond simply reaching a star's location. On the bright side, they do provide a variety of powerful parts to build with, but my creativity and sanity will be pushed to their absolute limits regardless. I began with the first Porcado, grabbing one of the few boxes lounging out in the open and crashing through a bridge for the second. Adding a detacher allowed activation of the red button to reach the next, which I followed up with 5 more of the sparse simple stars. After that, my attention turned to the box adjacent to the spawning area. I was utterly unable to traverse the top of this tall tower, leaving only a tiny opening from below which Ross would have to fit through.
And go for it. So Ross can definitely fit up here. I'll fly to the top of the tower. Okay, I'm gonna try blowing up the TNT, see what happens. That did not work. I think I just go for it. I mean, it kinda worked. Why is it not grabbing and pulling? I feel like it's just cheating to prevent me from doing stuff at this point. Okay, wait. That's it, finally. Now I just need to time my suction cup right. Yes!
Ugh, suction cups may have proved themselves superior once again, but that's 20 minutes of my life I'll never get back. Next, I blasted Ross down a chimney to reach a relatively easy halfway point by box count, but in terms of time, 40 minutes is barely a quarter of the total. This blue button simply refused to launch the box out as intended, so I resolved to launch in, which worked, just not the first time.
No! You gotta be kidding me. He's right there! He just didn't roll into it! For a second, I thought I was gonna get launched to the other side and end up over here and still not collect the box. But thankfully, that didn't happen.
By smoothly disabling the yellow button's TNT trap trigger, I was able to reach the 12th star box. Or at least I would have been if the tunnel wasn't so short as to pop all my balloons. For some reason though, the explosives don't respawn. I was able to nab it next time with a suction cup. A similar chimney dunk to box 10 was enough for 13.
Whoa! I went straight through the wall here. If this floor hadn't stopped me, I would have died.
And the stars strewn along the floor became easy after I learned that these walls were immaterial foreground elements. TNT sent Ross tumbling through the floor for 15, a skyward suction shot facilitated 16, and dropping a detacher on the green button opened the path to 17. Flying all the way across the map for these takes forever though. Good thing my chair is nearly as excellent a gamer as I. Or was. It broke. Rest in pieces. It was at this point that I began attempting what is hands down the hardest box in the level, smack in the middle of a narrow maze filled with powerful fans.
Okay, time for detachment. Uh-oh. Why? Dropping in, and now release. Yes. No! I can't grab anything. It won't let me grab anything. This attempt fails. Stream's over anyway. Let's give it some stakes. No. Do not tell me that because the suction cups are angled up now, I can't get in here. That would be so dumb. I think it's gonna be pushed. Yes, okay. It's not over yet. Okay. No! It fell over! Okay, bye everyone. Stream.
Yeah, I'll come back to this one. 18 was easily obtained by a rightward blast, but setting up Ross for 19 was harder than I anticipated.
Is this gonna be enough to break through the bridge? Nice. But it still gets stuck anyway, so that sucks. Break through. No, the other box got in my way. This might be enough. Okay, got stuck, but nice. That's what I needed. No! Sadly, this is unbalanced. I was wanting to save the rocket for later, but I think I have to use it right now if I want any chance of winning this. We are witnessing the purest form of speed. There's a detacher in the way, and that is a serious problem, unfortunately. But I got over. No, it flipped.
So hard that I even briefly returned to the wind maze before quickly bailing on that again. Eventually, a suction wheel stuck the landing, leaving only a single star to secure.
This might be the play. I might be dumb and wrong, but it feels like it could work. Well, now the detacher's in the way. Pop all balloons. Okay, I guess there's a possibility that it could fall down and hit my machine and unstick it. There it is, there it is. Come on, help me out. It did hit me, it just made it worse because now it's in the way and I'm still stuck. Try using sucker punches? In the tunnel, who knows what'll happen. Suction cup, disconnect. No! What broke? Okay, I think my machine is still intact. Okay. Wait, is that it? Is that it? No, 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 no. I was so close. I popped the balloon. It's glitched, so it's still there. Yes! Finally, that was it!
Aw, 2.5 hours in a single level. Does that seem hard to you? It should. That was pretty hard, but it also happens to be less than half of the time spent in the Road to El Porcado's second sandbox, closer to a third in fact. And while most of the level is quite tricky, the vast majority of those 6.5 hours were spent on a single box. Part of the problem with this stage is the truly minuscule amount of space provided for contraption construction. With only a 4x8 block staging area, my options are extremely limited. The intended traversal technique is to shoot Ross through the 1 block wide passages with powered propellers, making the variety of building materials also disappointingly small. In such a large and intricate stage with few options, my chances have never been worse. Luckily, even the worst levels still have a few basic boxes to knock out early. All I need to do for number 1 is drop Ross down the starting shaft while pressing the yellow button to unblock his route, and 2 was arguably even more trivial with an elementary trinitratoluene launch. Some simple suction shenanigans sufficed for star 3, and marginally more complicated suction shenanigans swung me straight into the 4th. Activating the blue button earned 5, while adding green to the lineup slid Ross to the 6th, and combining the suction and button schemes helped me crash down into number 7. Comparatively, Box 8 steps things up a notch by requiring navigation both to and around this large ice loop, while activating and deactivating buttons at the proper moments. I found a build with a detacher, fan, and boxes that would fall onto and then back off of the blue button, but positioning the suction cup was significantly more complex. I added an umbrella on top for extra control over sliding speed and aerial mobility, which helped me close the gap, but even reaching the ledge with the box is no good if the plunger can't pull me along. By grabbing the ceiling to flip Ross around, though, the umbrella could face the star and propel me to glory. In my first visit to this stage during the second stream, that's all I was able to manage, but when I returned later with more resources, new item unlocks had expanded my sphere of possibilities. Triple balloons allowed me to build fully fledged flying machines, so with a suction cup to drag me down, boxes 9, 10, and 11 soon entered my grasp. While I failed them initially, taking an alternate route to the top of the stage allowed the same machine to collect 3 more. Blue button activation combined with blasting Ross through a crevice in the top right, eventually, were the only actions required for box 15. Somehow we're 3/4 of the way through already. Who would have guessed? Sliding a skyward suction cup through the hole into this cavernous bowl was a relatively straightforward solution to Star 16, and a similar machine with a rotated downward-facing plunger also managed to snag 17 on the backswing. After that, my attention turned to the looping crevice with a star nestled on top. Obviously, there's no way to actually fit a machine through that minuscule gap, which necessitates an explosive ejection. I couldn't get this to work with the TNT underneath, so I remedied this by arranging it to Ross's right instead. Sadly, debris from the double propellers impeded my path, so I replaced it with a fan on the opposite side. This worked. After 5 minutes of monotonous maneuvering, I hate fans. No, wait, these fans, not you guys. I promise, you're the only thing that makes these fans worth using. So far, this stage has been difficult and complicated, but not too much worse than anything else we've seen. The final 2 boxes are determined to change that. Located in the extreme upper left corner of the map, they're as far from the starting point as it's possible to be, forcing a treacherous flight in advance of every attempt. Once again, my machine must be merely 1 block thick to enter the area, severely limiting the parts I can include. It took me half an hour to get inside and nab box 19 with an upward suction pull, but this solution came nowhere close to helping reach this video's 12th box 20. It hangs in a tree, up the cliff, across the chasm. It might be relaxing to reach with the power of flight, but entering this final arena will force me to relinquish any remaining balloons. Flying might not be an option, but neither is failure. My toolbox may be limited, but my imagination doesn't have to be. I tried again and again to blast Ross across the gap so he could climb the wall for the last hour of my stream, but could never make it due to a lack of launch power and durability. Even if I could, it was unclear whether I'd be able to scale the cliffside with a single suction cup. And don't forget that each of these failed attempts was preceded by hauling my bad piggy to the top of the stage, a time-consuming process that requires extra care to not force an early restart. I continued to try this method for another hour after the stream ended, but yeah, no. If I want to finish this, I'll need to find another way. My redesign had a rocky start, as I originally couldn't even reach the area without something going wrong, but when I finally managed to, well, that didn't last too long. The core idea is that if I can't climb up to the box, I have no choice but to blast myself there directly. My second attempt at this, while far from successful, proved the concept had merit as soon as Ross hit the ceiling. Hypothetically, I just need perfect timing and the patience required to achieve it, but on my 3rd blast, I came up just short, and on the 4th, and again on the 5th. I don't even know what happened on number 6, but on 7, my fan pushed a bit too far for the plunger to attach and flip Ross around. After my 8th try was once again insufficient, I began to worry that there was truly no way to conquer this challenge. But no conclusion can be claimed until confirmed with science. So far, I had kept Ross in my single wooden box and the dynamite enclosed by metal, thinking that the metal would slow my pig down as he was being pushed out. But maybe this was wrong? I loaded up Field of Dreams and placed TNT inside both metal and wooden boxes, finding that it had more power when contained by a former tree. This holds true even when Ross sits in a metal cage, which gave me all the information I needed in order to conquer this challenge. Now I have only one intention: execute this explosive enterprise. Engines unnecessary. My power bill remains the roundest of numbers, and Ross, by the grace of my generosity, he lives to build another day. I've exterminated every single sandbox without electricity, but one more challenge still remains. The main levels might seem impossible without engines, but if you'd like them conquered with the special abilities of custom and alien construction parts, leave a comment asking to see part 3. And if you have any other ideas or questions or concerns or jokes, that's what the comment section is there for. Make sure to like and or subscribe and or join my Discord server to chat with me and stay updated about future projects. But right now, this little piggy is going off to market. He deserves some gruel for all his mediocre effort. I assume. I don't know what pigs eat.